Hello, guys. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Anna from Dance Theatre checking in with you again. It's a fantastic, fabulous Rock Thursday. And hell, I'm excited again for another episode because this one should fall pretty much under the category not only rock, but maybe a little bit on the glam rock side. My guest is, among others, the lead guitar player and founder of Sparkle Kick Band. So I figured I might as well dress accordingly. And also, guys, thank you so much for checking in because this is a very special episode, well, close to my heart, a Swedish one, because as you might or might not know, Rock Dance Theatre has been originally founded and born in Sweden and Stockholm, that is. So, for that particular reason, I figured why not have an awesome guest for this episode that is also residing in Sweden as we speak. So yeah, that's pretty much a small backstory to that. There will be way more. And guys, if you are just checking in and tuning in, please hit the subscribe button, the whole good stuff, the drill. So you might as well not do it, and I will not repeat that. So yeah, in other news, guys, I would like to welcome my special guest, known as Stone, but his actual official name is straight out of France, from Clisson, Erwan Lengliné. And guys, heads up, will you please welcome everybody, my special guest today.
Hello.
Hello. Bonsoir, I should say, actually, because it's already afternoon, almost evening.
Yeah, it's...
So, Erwan, do you want me to name you Stone, your artistic pseudonym?
If you can manage to pronounce Erwan, it's fine with me.
I can keep repeating Erwan as many times as you like. All right. So how you've been? How is everything over in Sweden that you are joining us from today?
It's good. It's sunny today, which is nice. Because it's
awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, by the way, today. I figured we might as well spend some quality time. It's practically, today's episode is like having a Swedish fika. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, definitely.
They don't have fikas, particularly in France, right? They have something totally different.
I think they do. It's just not called fika. Like I feel like Sweden makes more of a big deal out of it. That's it.
I think so. It's so named officially, just like people hanging out together and having a great time.
Yeah.
It's funny because actually, like, France is known, among other. That's why I love always touring there. I love working there. That is just embracing this part of life, right? Where you just hang out, have a great time, and enjoy every single day and what it has to offer.
Yeah, definitely.
So tell me, how did I did a little bit of research, of course, before the episode, prepping for this a week ago, and tell our viewers actually what is the link and transition to you being actually in Sweden right now, but originally not being a Swede. How did that come about? You being based out of Malmö right now?
No, I'm in Uppsala right now.
Oh, you're in Uppsala.
Yeah.
All right, even better. Okay, Uppsala it is then.
Yeah. No, like basically I met my girlfriend at Sweden Rock like 6 years ago, and we got together like 5 years ago, and then it just worked out and I moved.
So it's not only a rock story, it's also a love classic rock story. Just love brings you together, and that what makes you migrate. It's funny because many times it's either, let's say, a work environment, a job interview that all of a sudden makes you switch lifestyles and locations. But in your case, it was, there you go, a relationship. That's cool. Was that a big transition, considering your background, let's say, in France and switching onto Sweden, or was it a super smooth one?
No, I think it was pretty smooth because we've done it like on and off like more than a year, I think. Just like going to see each other, so I was there a lot, and then it was just like going there again, and I just didn't come back.
Yeah, living out of two homes almost.
Yeah.
So tell us, tell our viewers, and well, I know, but since this is a podcast, a hangout, we might as well ask some official questions, and then we just spitball and pretty much freelance out of that. Tell me a little bit about your first beginnings of love with guitar and guitar playing.
I think I got the interest from guitar from like my dad probably playing around town. Around town. What am I saying? Around the house. Sorry.
All right.
And yeah, I think it started there, and I've always been attracted to it. And then I just decided to learn when I was like 12 or something like that, and then I never stopped.
Nice. So it's funny because also one thing that we have in common, the Swedish thing, which we will talk a little bit about, but I also started very early on in my career doing my first directed show actually at age 11. So it's funny how more and more when I talk to people, not only on this virtual stage, which is the Rock Dance Theater, live stream meetings, but also really like when we hang out after a show or wherever, that it is a funny moment when you are a teenager that sometimes really determines what you're going to do later in your career. Tell me, like, was it not only your dad, was there a music side to your education also at school back in Clisson? Was that programmed like side of math and let's say the regular subjects, so to speak?
Not really. Like I think musical education in France is not that big, especially now that I'm like in Sweden. I realize how much of a big deal it is here.
Yeah. Well, Sweden is bananas. Sweden is like America of Europe, or UK of Europe, as far as musicianship and the level. It's like guys are so good. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. But I think the factor that played a lot, which like in retrospective, when I look back at it, I feel kind of fortunate about, because like I come from a small town called Clisson, and that's where Hellfest started. So the festival, the metal festival.
Absolutely.
So I've been there from basically the beginning, and I just got to see stuff like Motley Crue when I was 14.
There you go. Best moment to actually do it. So you have metal in your blood in a way, it's you're raised in that area, and you see the history, how it unwinds, as you say. That's super cool.
Yeah, and it's such a big part of the town. Like everything is kind of shaped around the festival nowadays, I feel like, at least. So no, there was all these giants coming to like play on the field where we were just like doing PE. and it's like,
right, different function, and all of a sudden, it's the center of the planet. Like everyone goes there.
Yeah, exactly. And like like now when I travel every year to go to like Sweden Rock, I'm like, yeah, I used to walk like 1 kilometer to go there, like to that kind of thing. So I think that's what really grew my interest in playing.
Nice. Yeah, it's funny because it's sometimes really being at an event that kind of triggers your passion to pick it up yourself. Let's say pick up a guitar, pick up a bass, because your heroes are just having so much fun that you figure like, you know what, this is what I want to do as my profession. With me, it was kind of different. I wasn't ever driven by seeing any first performances, shows, or concerts. Like concerts actually came quite late in my life, but funny enough, I was also always determined that I knew, hell, I live on stage. This is kind of my environment. I loved showing off at home, in front of the TV, and I literally could do any kind of show, be it spoken word, comedy, dance, acrobatics, you name it. Like I had to be center of attention. It was terrible. Were you an extrovert kid or an introvert, or like, it's terminology, of course, it doesn't matter, but what kind of kid were you around the house?
I think I was pretty shy, but listening to really loud music, I guess.
That's the best combo.
Yeah.
Volcano waiting to erupt. It's funny because do you have any stories where, of course, the parents like slam the door, you're playing the music too loud, like turn it down or something?
Definitely. I remember once my mom coming to my room pretty pissed off, saying she could hear the music from like up the street.
From the Clisson area, from the festival area.
Yeah, wow. I was doing my own festival, I guess.
That's cool. Well, many people do it. Like literally the bedroom is the first stage, rocking out on your bed and stuff. Funny because I remember, what was that? I think it was a song by Janis Joplin, actually. Back in the day when me and my parents were traveling over to my grandparents' place to a different city, my granddad was actually an ex-general in the military, and number one, he hated kids. Number two, he hated anything that had to do with freedom and expression, and anything that pretty much is the contrary of a military lifestyle and the military mindset. So I remember this one thing. Me and my dad actually went out to buy a stereo. You remember stereos? For those of you guys checking in, just tuning right now with us on the Rock Dance Theatre live stream meeting, we are talking about stereos, not digital playthrough, but equipment that you actually flipped on, some CDs, piece of plastic. Google it. So yeah, we bought a stereo, and the very first song that I popped in just to check it out was Janis Joplin, and of course I put the volume full on. And my granddad, literally within 2 minutes, maybe not even longer, storms in, almost kicks in the door, picks up the stereo, and I think me by the t-shirt or whatever. I swear to God, it was the most freakish moment of my life. I thought he was gonna throw both of us out the window. I was literally scared. I was like, oh shit, And then, of course, the dust settled in, and I think I did it again, like the same evening, because it just was too cool. And I think I could have been like 8 or 9, something like that. It was funny, but it was exactly as you say, one of these moments, like, you're too loud. It's never too loud. It's never too loud. How much are you, Erwan? Tell us, how loud are you in your own shows? Are you a total Marshall guy? Because I know one of the things that our viewers, it's a very cool thing, actually. Our viewers should know that you are a total ES335 guitar lover, freak, if you will. But we're going to get to that part. But tell me, how loud are your shows, like with Sparkle Kick and also Lost Boys of Eden, your other band, which I love the name of, by the way.
Nice, thanks. That was Max, the other guitar player. Talking about Max, he's the one always complaining that I'm always too loud. So I guess I'm playing too loud. I'm trying to
guitar
turn it
players
down.
Are always too loud. It's one of these things, but
no, but I'm really trying to turn it down nowadays, especially these days, because I have to sing a lot. So I'm trying to get better at playing lower volume, not low, but.
All right. So what would you say is enough volume-wise? Like literally 2 or 3, then through a main rig, through the PA, or more than that?
It kind of depends. Because the thing is that
of course, depends on the venue, club, or.
Yeah, if there is really bad monitors in general, you want to crank it. But I don't know. Yeah, 3 or 4, or in general, what we do is Max is commenting, you're always too loud. I know that.
Is that actually the Max?
Yeah.
That we're speaking of. Shout out to Max Lindahl. Actually, our special guest bandmate today. As you see, guys, you have confirmation. Yeah, you are too loud. But you know what? It's one of these things. It's fun to be loud, but then again, of course, you have to do quality control so that the show sounds good. You guys can hear yourselves also on stage, so that the quality of the music, translates as you would like it to.
Yeah, I think it's all about monitors and stuff like that is, I guess, the factor that's influencing it the most.
Mm-hmm. Do you play with inner ears? Or are you guys completely without?
No, I used to, and then I gave it up, and now I'm thinking about getting back to it seriously. Especially now that I need to sing a lot more, so that would really help.
Well, it's funny because many people have various opinions. They either were working a lot with inner ears. Some people go totally without, purely because they can connect with the crowd way more, when guys are cheering and the whole room is really rocking out. It's kind of weird, right? Because the feeling is exactly as if you would be kind of in a bubble, right? In the studio situation. And then it's funny, on a reaction level, I would think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that the same kind of with you also?
You mean with, sorry, can you go again?
Yeah, when you perform without, hence the singing, and not only do you feel more organically connected to the audience when you go without?
I don't know. I think it depends. If you're really well rehearsed, I think it doesn't really matter to me,
All right.
which is what we're working on now. So everything is really flawless, and I think then it's like not any difference if you're really, really well rehearsed.
Yeah. Well, basically, guys, for all of you watching us, if the moment you go on stage, basically you got to be rehearsed, you got to be prepared to have something to say on stage. Like that's not only my personal opinion, but also like a rock dance theater philosophy. It's just like, in these days, and not only really way back, kind of when you decide to do a show and be a physical performer as your career, I figured that you really have to know, not only have your chops ready, number one, but have a specific kind of background where you're not only educated in your craft, be it guitar playing, be it dancer, be it bass player, be it, drummer, anything like that. It's I guess not a given to go on stage, and not many people realize. Do you also notice that? Where not only where you came from, not only where you grew up in France, but do you notice that nowadays that somehow people go on stage a little bit too early, in the sense of
Yeah, like
now is the time, let's say, to actually name this professionalism.
yeah, I think that's something we really learned from, especially in Lost Boys, because we changed lineup quite a few times.
All right.
And something we talked about is that at the beginning we really rushed some things. So now we like it to be really, really like smooth. So none of us has to think, and you can just like enjoy the show, and you don't have to worry about things.
It's quite a paradox, wouldn't you think? Because actually, the more you play, the more you perform, even to an empty room. And trust me, I've performed my own shows, and I'm not a musician per se. Like, music is a huge part of rock dance theater within the whole physical show, and also I use guitars and basses and all kinds of percussion. But basically, it is ironic that the more you perform to those empty rooms, the more you are surrounded as a rehearsal, as practice that gets you better and better in front of a bigger crowd than later, the better for you. So what do you think is that actual line? You can might as well suck completely early on and still be on stage, because that's how you learn. What's your statement on that?
Yeah, but I think it's the case in everything, like trial and is it trial by fire, the expression? I don't remember, but you have to make mistakes to learn. So
trial and error. Yeah.
Okay. And so I think we've probably all done that, but like no, especially in Lost Boys, we're at a point where it feels kind of good because we get pretty quick at picking up on things and rehearsing, and we start knowing each other really well.
Are you all guys educated musicians, or are you self-taught? Like, how did the Lost Boys come about? And also, of course, second question, where did the name come from?
Honestly, about the name, you have to ask Max. Max, comment where the name came from.
Gotcha.
As
we'll
far as
ask Max about that.
Education, the guys are. I wouldn't say I'm self-taught because I got like some lessons, but it was more to get a foundation. So I didn't get like what you would call proper music education. But like that being said, I really try to better myself and learn new things and get more knowledge into it. Not to like, especially now we're all, I think, in Lost Boys raising each other's game, which is pretty nice.
You help each other out. Well, it's a learning curve. Like, basically, if you say that you don't have to learn and get better anymore, you might as well die. And that's that. Were you guys? Well, I should actually ask. No, the other way around. I'm going to ask you. Was it also one of the tunes of Motley Crue and Alice Cooper you were breaking down for yourself? Because for those of you guys checking in, you might not know this, but me and Erwan, we actually know each other from one of Alice Cooper's release parties over in Sweden, which we will talk about a little bit later. It's also a funny story, one of many. But was that also one of these things that you were just teaching yourself how to do practically, and then the lessons followed?
You mentioned it because there is that live at Wacken from Alice that he released like maybe 7 years ago, and I remember being in my room as like a teenager and like breaking down all of Roxy's part.
I knew it.
so I could play the set like entirely, or
Nice.
sort of.
Yeah,
Like,
well, if that's the album that you really love, it's exactly the best philosophy also to learn anything. It's just like I want to nail it. So which one was the first riff? Do you remember? The
the
very first lick that you wanted to learn?
from Alice, you mean?
No, generally even on guitar.
I was really into Metallica when I was young, so it was probably some Metallica stuff that I
All
learned
right.
first. I couldn't tell you why. I remember trying to learn Orion.
I'm not gonna ask why.
No, but yeah, Orion. I remember trying to learn, and then I realized that it was way out of my league. So I didn't.
You mean the crazy bends, right? Like all the
Yeah,
way up.
I remember I could play the open riff, and that was one of those.
Yeah. Well, the aforementioned Ryan Roxy, for all of you viewers that don't know, but probably you might know Ryan Roxy as the world-renowned guitar player of Alice Cooper, among others, because he's also the guitar player for his own band, Roxy 77, Ryan Roxy's solo project, Casablanca, based out of Sweden also, a super cool band that I personally very much dig. And also, you might know him from latest podcast of In the Trenches with Ryan Roxy. So we're basically also, within this virtual scene community right now where, we share these virtual stages. And actually, we have some people like popping in, like Federock. Hi, Federock. Is one of the followers of the Roxy Guitar Army and also has been, checking in with our Rock Dance Theater show, which is highly appreciated. Thank you so much, guys. It's always cool when you join us, because I think then for me and everyone, it's so much more fun than just to hang out, because as I said, we are just talking rock today. We are hanging out. We are giving some quality time for our viewers, and preferably, inspiring someone to go out there on stage because they figured, hey, I'm gonna be a performer for the rest of my life because that's the coolest thing to do. So that's exactly what we want to do.
Yes.
So speaking of first riffs, you're not going to believe which riff I learned for the very first time when rock found me. Not the other way around. Not that I decided to kind of do these things. The theme from The Godfather.
Oh, nice.
Actually, yeah, it was so funny. I remember the moment being in my room, because you know what? I think now is the best time to actually mention like why Rock Dance Theater was born in Sweden, because it was one of these things. I was coming back from one awesome rock show at Gröna Lund. I think it was actually Alice Cooper, 2016 or 17. My memory is a little bit shady because in home lockdown universe, it's literally March 127th. I stopped count. And yeah, I was insomniac, as I usually am, because that's where creativity hits me in the middle of the night. And I was lying around, and I kind of figured before a previous summer that, you know what, I wanted to kind of modify my my visual image, if you will, and also a profile of my shows. And there was an element that I kind of was lacking in that sense. I don't want to say, well, burnout, because I've been really long in the business also ever since I was a kid. Like, you picked up the guitar also very early on. I was doing my own shows from age 11 and before that. So it kind of hit me. Wait, physical theater was always an element that I was doing. I like rock, everything that is guitar driven, is super cool, and it hits very close to my universe and my taste, and not only lifestyle, if you will. So I figured, wait, dance theater, rock dance theater, bang. And I swear to God, I was lying around at Sodermalm at my friend's place on her couch. Shout out to Nina, by the way, if she's watching, maybe. Nina is a chef at, I want to say Harry B. James, but that's not the restaurant. I'm hitting a blank. It will come back, guys. You know for sure. It's at Stureplan.
I know the name. I do not know where it is.
Nina's gonna kill me.
Is it a rock pub or?
It's not a rock pub.
Okay.
It's the franchise of the restaurant is Gordon Ramsay's competition.
I have no idea.
Guys, for anyone watching, if you know exactly what I mean, please hit us up, because I'm hitting a blank. Anyway, not important. So yeah, literally that moment after the live show, it kind of hit me. And then I had to reach for a guitar, and that was my kind of beginning learning an instrument of any sort live, because I didn't have that. You said that music education wasn't really a thing in Clisson. What do kids learn at school, or did, let's say, back in the day?
Like, I don't know. I don't really know how the school system in France translate in English, but like
On peut
basically,
traduire. Je vais essayer.
yeah. Okay, like you sort of have a little bit of music from when you're like 11 to 14, and then it's over. But
All
it's
right.
more like basic stuff. Like, you listen to a song and you have to analyze what instruments are in it, and that's about it. And you learn 3 chords on the guitar and how to play a quarter note on the djembe.
All right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
djembe was also a part of my life, super short. Like, I was wearing dreadlocks then, I was into reggae, and I was playing a djembe. That was a weird period, I gotta say. Did you play like any hand drums at school, and not only?
No, as I said, I played quarter note on the djembe, and that's as far as my
That's the only moment. So you did. That should count.
okay. Yeah. So I'm a djembe player too. Then.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Everyone is a djembe player. If you
Mhm.
manage to tap something with your spoon or on your cup, you're already a percussionist. It's one of these things. Cheers, by the way, to the Swedish episode, guys. Again, you are joining Rock Dance Theatre live stream meetings today. My special guest is Erwan Lengliné, known also as Stone Sinna. Tell me where the nickname came from.
It's actually pretty funny. I was in like, this is like super weird story. I was in Moldova.
Love it. Go for it.
Doing some work for the summer. So we were like building a factory or something in a small village for people to go to work. And we were working with so many different nationalities. And then no one could get my name because it's so weird and complicated. So, and I always had like a Rolling Stone t-shirt. So they all started calling me Stone. And then I guess it sticked. And that's it.
Gotcha. Stones, like as the Stones. Well, it could have any other connotations that we will not talk about, guys, because basically being stoned means being on drugs, and basically doing drugs is stupid. I personally have never done it because I don't need to. I'm addicted to my own adrenaline, and hey, I pretty much am as high as a kite because I'm just hyped up with everything that I'm doing pretty much, when I go on stage, when I produce a show, when I'm in rehearsal, or just like putting new ideas together, that literally anyone that knows me or is just meeting me, they all think like, you have to be the highest person in the room. And I go, you know what? No, I could tell stories about all of you dancing on tables and not only. So that's actually funny. So yeah, that could be that, but Stones, since the Rolling Stone, that's also awesome, guys. They are legends, and I think many of us have actually learned from them and are inspired by them still. And funny enough, still Keith Richards and cockroaches are probably going to be the 2 things that stay on planet Earth after the post-apocalypse.
Definitely.
Let's see how that works out. Who was your guitar hero, like aside of, well, licks of Ryan Roxy, for mentions from Alice Cooper?
There is a lot.
There were so many. We have time.
Yeah.
We're not going to go 7 hours because people will not stand our faces anymore, but let's hit it 1 or 2.
I'll try to pick a few. When I was really young, it was Kirk Hammett was a big one.
All right.
For me. Like, I would say he's the one that made me pick the guitar together with Brian May. Then I'm going to get all break loose on me, but Tommy Thayer from Kiss.
Okay.
Is big one, because there is that
Tommy
whole
is a
thing
fantastic guitar player.
Yeah, and there is that whole thing about the makeup, but like I grew up with him being the guitar player from Kiss, so he's the one I looked up to. So yeah, Tommy Thayer. Then most recently it's been like Adam Slack from the Struts. It's probably number 1 for me. And who else? Yeah, Dan Hawkins and DJ Ashba, and we'll stop there, I would say.
All right. That's a cool stop, actually. Perfect. Thank you for doing that, because DJ Ashba is, among others, a guitar player from 6 a.m., Nikki Sixx's band. Of course, founder and bass player of Motley Crue. For all of you guys that don't know, this is small rock history 101 also. You know what? I'm an educator. I'm a teacher also. So somehow it's funny. It always comes through. It's like, guys, you know what? And then, people learn. But yeah, you mentioned, among others, in Weird Inspirations, when I was hooking up this episode, and I always do this Rock Dance Theater small description about myself and also my special guest coming on the podcast. And you mentioned 6 a.m. as a weird inspiration. Why?
I don't know. It's the kind of band that, like, it's not really the style I play, but I don't know. There's something about their art. Like,
Yet you like it.
no, but I always, it's always been like in one of my favorite band ever. And it's like, I don't know, the lyrics, and I love that they like talk about such subjects that you wouldn't necessarily talk about. Like, they are pretty hard subjects.
Yeah.
And it flows so well. And like, I don't know, just how they put stuff together, like Ashba's weird guitar with James's voice, and well, Nikki, of course. But like, I don't know, it's like such a weird band, but it's just, I think they're quite unique in what they do.
Well, you know what? I totally understand you, because I also love the band personally. I think one of the first songs that I heard, because I'm a slow learner on the level of titles and names and album. It's just my memory is a complete crap on that. I do know tunes, I remember stories, stuff like that. It's just weird somehow. So I think the first song that I actually fell in love with immediately was If I Die Tomorrow, and also the music video. Oh my God, I was so hooked. And not only for wait, that's a Motley Crue song.
Tomorrow is Motley Crue, I think.
That's Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know. Now it's coming all back to me. See, Rock Dance Theater Unscripted. Reality TV. I know why, because the moment that I discovered that song actually led me to 6 a.m., the band that I didn't know Nikki founded. And then, I went down the rabbit hole, down the history, if you will. And then, of course, Heroin Diaries and all of that stuff. And since you mentioned it is a weird inspiration for me, it's not only about the complexity of the band and the topics that they speak about in their lyrics, and also with this whole kind of mission of being clean, but also his drug addiction that he speaks about so openly. I think that's also one of the coolest things that he actually flipped with, in the sense of, number one, surviving it, but also really helping people out right now, everyone in the industry that do have a problem with that. Hey, he's on the first page for that, and I think it's super important work that he does on that level. Did you read the book also that he put out?
Yeah, like, he's a lot into addiction, and like, James is talking a lot about that kind of stuff, and like depression and things like that, and singing about it, which I think is really cool. He writes such great lyrics to it too. It's like the way they say it is just super cool, I think.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think the best way to put anything out is honesty. It's like, I don't know about you, but I have a personal radar for bullshit. It's like anyone that tries to do that on stage, number one, if they are a performer and they go out, it's like you cannot really name it, but something feels off, something feels weird, and you notice then immediately that somehow it's not entirely put out there in an honest way. That's at least how I have that.
Yeah, no, definitely. But that's why I like the honesty, and it's they can say really harsh stuff in such a beautiful way. Like, I don't know how they put things together. It's really cool, I think.
They do find the pretty and the ugly. To say the least, and I think they really embrace that. Yeah.
Definitely.
Speaking of pretty ugly, you're one of these, I don't want to say hidden treasures of Sweden, because like ever since we met, actually, I did kind of, we did kind of, and not stay in touch on social media, because I've been in Sweden like all the time, back and forth. And since you're in Uppsala, not in Stockholm necessarily, and Stockholm is mostly where I operate, be it shows, teaching, rehearsal, music videos, whatever. But you are a kind of mystical and dark character in the rock world, I would say. It might be only my vibe, but where did that come about? Is that a specific aesthetic also that you try to bring with both of your bands?
Dark, how do you mean? Like,
That's just a feeling, in the sense of,
yeah,
yeah, I'll leave
like,
it at that without any
um,
explanation.
I don't know. Like, if you mean dark, like unknown, or
Well, categories, yeah, dark, unknown / mystical, something to it that makes you interested in the show,
yeah,
that makes you interested in playing, and with what you guys do as performers, as
I don't know. I think it's just we're just playing for the love of it, and we just don't try to overthink it so much or anything. And I'm pretty reserved, sort of, I guess.
and it's pretty raw because what you guys put out there, it's pretty straightforward, raw rock and roll, right? Guitar driven rock and roll without any kind of filtering, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, and again, like lyrics, like lyrics is probably my favorite part of writing a song. This is the thing I enjoy the most and always have. And I've never really been into the like what you talk, plastic lyrics or something like that. So we try to keep it.
I would not know what that is, but I guess it does exist,
No, but
unfortunately.
like, I don't know, type of taking a limo to the show and get wasted type of lyric. I don't think like it doesn't really move me. So we try to keep it real
Yeah,
and organic,
well,
music wise and lyric wise, I guess.
it's not supposed to give a huge message.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's just like for the fun of it and like really as ridiculous that you can get. It's exactly that. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
Because you go ahead.
no, like, so yeah, we try to keep it real, I guess, like music wise and lyric wise, and just be ourselves.
Mm, that's awesome. Well, that's one of the most important things is to actually find your own expression language and like your not only image. I don't want to use the word image because yeah, that's not actually the thing, but somehow finding yourself within this creation, as you say, not only songwriting, then that turns into the actual song, the actual set list of a live show, and the recording process when you put out an album. And so actually we were talking a little bit in the green room before we went on. You were telling me, speaking of reality, all of a sudden, guys, you were supposed to go out to record with your band just
Yeah,
now.
yeah, exactly. And it got postponed, obviously, like
Tell us
throughout
a
the.
little bit what's happening with that. What did you guys plan? Like anything that is official that we can plug already, and not top secret.
Well, the thing is that the album is written, so we're supposed to like record it now
All right.
and then start promoting it towards the summer, and hopefully gig as much as possible at the end of the year. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, it got postponed. So now I think the earliest we can record is probably July or August, probably August. So we need to rethink everything, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because all of us, I think, right now we're literally in a very similar boat or ship, in sense of replanning and rescheduling anything that we pretty much planned. It's funny. Somehow someone mentioned, I can't remember who it was, but also someone that is hosting these podcast live streams recently. And it's just like having your whole calendar, your whole 2020 plan ready almost, and someone or God, or depending what you believe in, shows the finger and it's like, fuck your plans, this is what you're going to do today. Like you're going to be a
Yeah.
podcaster, you're going to be a Sid Homan musician, and basically sending in files. Do you guys share files? Basically, I don't know, you track your vocals or you track your guitars and you send it over to the rest of your bandmates, or how do you guys work it out actually?
Like when it's about demo work, yeah. The only thing is that we try to keep it once a week rehearsing and stuff like that. So like we usually work on when we see each other. But yeah, for demo we send to each other, but not for the album. We're supposed to all go to the studio.
Right. Well, I think there's nothing better than just being around with people, especially in a creative process. It's like
Mhm.
I could not imagine to put a show together. Although, in the sense of early beginnings, let's say, I don't know how you guys prep a show the moment you kind of have something booked and then you really go to rock it. But this kind of surrounding where I'm literally in my living room or somewhere hanging out, even at a park, or I don't know, a hard rock cafe, which I love. That is actually one of my personal offices because I always order nachos. I order like a triple black coffee, and that's where I sit down and write concepts for shows. This is
Mhm.
not much different on a very early stage. Of course, then later, yeah, you need a huge space, in my case, to stage everything and, have props and costumes and, the styling and stuff. But yeah, this is pretty much not much different. But yeah, I would imagine that if your rehearsing process is pushed back right now, and tracking an actual studio is the best thing and feel to actually then create music with, that is, well, real music in the sense of, not really send
Mhm.
in, phoned in, if you will.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you
No,
guys, go ahead.
no. What were you gonna say? Sorry.
No, I was going to ask, are you guys putting out a full album, or is that an EP?
No, it's a full album.
Sweet.
Uh,
We're going to look
and
forward to that.
yeah, like us too, in all honesty, because it's been a hell of a ride
Obviously.
since we started that thing.
I know, right?
And
We're
yeah, now finally I think we're really stable right now in the with each other, and who we that lineup, and everyone brings different idea, and I think we complete each other pretty well actually, because we all have our different tastes. And yeah, I think it's gonna be a good album.
That sounds cool. Yeah,
Mhm.
we're gonna look forward to that. Of course, we're gonna do all kinds of shout outs about what's happening with all of your music and also shows, and not only. Hell, maybe we're gonna do a live stream together. You never know. Like you guys just plug in, and we try to coordinate. Well, the latency has been a huge problem in sense of jamming. Like, funny enough,
Mhm.
actually, a day and a week ago, I hosted my very first event that was supposed to be on stage. I was going to do this big Dance Me Rock Me jam session that was bringing together all kinds of artists from the rock scene, from the physical performance world. Some photographers were jumping in for flashings, and I swear to God, it for the very first time in 33 years, which I'm gonna have my 30th third birthday this year, I had to stage a show online, like, figuring out not stage setup or lighting or how the floor is, stuff like that, but just stressing out about clicking buttons and letting in guests in and, hooking up the comments. So it was funny. It was a funny experience. And I think nonetheless we had fun with it. So
Yeah.
speaking of reality, Erwan, how are you basically dealing, without using the forbidden words, of course, which we do not use over here on our Rock Dance Theater live stream? How are you taking these weird times that we are in right now, in the new reality, the new normal, if you will?
Like, I don't know, it's like, of course it's a bit of change, but Sweden is pretty relaxed. Like, they haven't put any quarantine or anything, so like, it's we're still like allowed to leave. Like, the only bummer is that we have no gigs or anything like that, but we take the
Yeah.
time to work on stuff, and like try to learn new skills, try to perfect the one we already are working on.
We already have. So are you
Mm.
perfecting not only playing on your favorite ES335s, or did you take on a new hobby or a skill?
Well, I'm a lot into graphic design, so I've been doing a lot of courses on that. I'm taking a lot of singing lessons right now because it looks
Okay.
like I'm gonna have to sing. So it's like, and my
I
whole
might
day.
as well take a class or two, right?
Yeah, no, but like it's really good. Like, honestly, it's so much fun. It's really hard, but it's so much fun. And like, my whole day is basically about singing and then playing guitar and then do some graphic design so I can get some money.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's hilarious because these times, the last 2 months, is going on month 3 right now,
Mhm.
of the new reality for me. And I gotta say, I've been working the busiest, and working as intense as possible with so little pay or no pay.
Mhm.
for that matter, because funny enough, right before this whole thing broke out, I was actually lucky enough to teach a small tour with workshops around Europe. I've hit Krakow. I've actually been to Paris 2 days at Centre des Arts Vivants, one of the very cool and favorite studios to teach like ever. And not only because of their artistic program, kind of an artistic direction, but what's most beautiful about that is one of their studio that is in the very center. It's at Bastille, the location, for those of you guys that don't know Paris. The biggest studio that they has actually an opening of the ceiling, and you can see the freaking sky when you teach. So the moment you lift up your head, it's so cool. Like you see the sun, you see the sky, and I usually black out then. It's just like, I daydream for a couple of seconds and then I'm back. So it's so much fun. So before that whole thing hit, I literally almost was stuck in France for that time, because it was 10 of March. Now it's in history. Now it's in the books. And yeah, the day after, literally, they shut down the borders and, ban on travel and all of that. So where were you? What were you kind of caught on at the moment when that whole thing exploded?
That was horrible. I was so stressed back then that like me and my girlfriend were like, okay, like we love Alice Cooper, we love Cheap Trick. And it was like Alice and Tommy playing with Robin Zander in a full orchestra in Germany. So
Yeah.
Let's
Rock
go
Meets
there.
Classic tour, by the way. I was also supposed to be there. I was supposed to be in Berlin, and then I don't remember why, but I kind of either my flight was canceled already, or I figured that we're in trouble over here. And yeah, exactly as you say.
So yeah, we're really upset because like everything got canceled like 3 days before. Like, oh
yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, and this is not gonna be rescheduled. It got I was really sure about that one.
Everything is going to be rescheduled, guys. It's like, we're going to all come back from this and bounce back. And the best thing I think is actually a lot of cool projects is going to happen out of it. Like I figured, this might be a virtual stage, but I started doing this video vault thing that I actually have plenty of recordings of old shows and backstages, or just like kind of hanging around and, having all of these memories captured that were never actually premiered or featured in any kind of way. So I figured, why not do that? So I'm going to probably do a series of that. This podcast, most definitely the live stream meetings on Rock Dance Theatre, I would like to keep, because I think it's a cool hangout platform and also way to really capture stories, and that history. It's like when I hear you say, for example, that you were walking around just like in forests over in Clisson, which was the very grounds of Hellfest, It's for me that's rock history. That's so cool,
Yeah, like it was definitely some of my favorite time. Those summer just walking and go and see Motley Crue and Kiss and Alice Cooper and stuff like that.
Yeah, great. Good old times. And now we have great new times. Speaking of, so everyone is doing their live form of any sort. Do you actually plan on doing any live stream gigs with your band, since temporarily unavailable in real life?
No, we talked about it because we might have one. We just haven't got a date.
All right.
So
that's pretty cool.
I'm rehearsing it every day. We'll see if it happens or not. But if it doesn't, I got some practice.
Sure, absolutely. Guys, by the way, if you're watching this, of course, click subscribe, not only to Erwan Lengliné social media. By the way, of course, all of the hashtags we will throw out within the rebroadcast also, and we're going to do a little bit of post-production on the stuff that is happening that is cool, not only on Sparkle Kick, that's band number 1. By the way, which band happened first? Last Boys of Eden or Sparkle Kick?
Last Boys of Eden came from a band called Blackout Express. That was around like a few years ago. I think that one came first. But I was just like my friend Clisson that has a band called Midnight Danger. He was kind of on and off from that band. So I used to like feeling for him. And in the meantime, I started the whole Sparkle Kick thing. But no, we haven't done anything for a while because Lost Boys has been so demanding.
Right. Well, it's hard to kind of shuffle and juggle two bands, right? Two different projects, but then again, kind of similar, of course, for playing guitar, for stuff like that. But do you find it hard sometimes switching from project to project?
Yeah, definitely. Because like I'm helping a friend write too, and I have the graphic design thing too. So it's like I don't know. I was saying to my girlfriend, I'm so good at saying yes to everything, and I'm so stressed.
That's the best philosophy, I actually embraced that a while ago, and to be honest, it's like, what's the worst that might happen? It might not work out, or it might suck,
Mm.
or things fall through somehow, but that's exactly how it takes you to places where you would not realize even, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. Like I'm in Lost Boys, it was like at the beginning when form, I had to take like the train for like 5 hours. So I was kind of like, yeah, I'll give this a shot, but I don't know. But I'm glad I did because this is really fun.
Where did you have to travel to from Uppsala over to
Härnösand,
okay.
which is I don't know. I was like, oh, this is far north. They were like,
You just take the S yacht to whichever direction, and then you
yeah.
arrive in the rehearsal studio.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I think
now we're relocated that like more down here, which is more manageable. So
yeah. Well, I think it only is best proof that if you're really passionate and determined about something, it's like, hey, you put in the hours. I remember my first years like in Austria when I was 18, 19. That was actually my move out time when I, figured, okay, final exams, stuff like that. I got all kinds of certificates also for being a dance teacher and a dance instructor. And hell, first classes also that I was teaching were literally 2.5 hours from Vienna. Sankt Puttelsdorf, something like that, and the train literally ran out of tracks. You would go off, simple street, one coffee shop, mine, that's it, and the studio. There was nothing there. So, but it was fun, like no regrets there, and it's always one of these things that, okay, if it's for a week or two, and it's a hassle, of course, okay, it brings you somewhere, but then maybe you never know what comes out of it. So exactly as you say. So what do you say yes to these days? Yes, okay, I'm staying at home today. I will not go out too much.
The last stupidest thing I said yes to was my friend that's doing this, like he's in France, he's like a high school friend. And he's doing that like a rap album called the Corona Session. And he was like, can you play a solo? I was like, yeah,
oh,
sure.
Did you just use the C word?
No, it's a one word.
Are they the actual like Corona? Well, Corona beer has the name in it, so like that's not a trademark or
I mean,
off,
there was
off the
session
limit.
after, so let's just make it one long word.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, I said yes to that, and then I opened it. I was like, what? Why did I even do that?
Was it good or did it suck?
It's for fun, so it was.
Okay, it was a different category. Well,
yeah.
See, there you go.
So yeah.
Well, a big yes is also what I know, what our viewers might not know, guys. By the way, whoever is tuning in just now, we are at Rock Dance Theatre live streaming it with Erwan Lengliné today with me. And Erwan, you are a pig. Explain. Yeah. I am myself as well, but explain what does that mean for those of you guys, listeners and viewers that do not know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been obsessed with guitar picks since I was like 10, I think. Like I remember my dad added like a rainbow see-through pick, and then I was like just taking them and keeping them. And yeah, now I like picks still.
So, you are a huge owner of a collection of or former owner, like should we name that? Because you said that you kind of tore down your expo and proper visual representation of all of the picks separately, and then now they're kind of lying around differently than before.
Yeah, no, like it's funny because my girlfriend was too, so when we met we were like, this is gonna work. She likes picks too, but yeah, no, we used to put them on display, kind of nice, and then every time the band is here, they always walk in the thing, so always so we're like, okay.
And then like one is misplaced or like 5 are misplaced somehow.
Yeah, it's
they weirdly disappear.
So yeah, no, they're actually here. They're all in the jar.
The goodie jar. Yeah,
Mhm.
I love pics as well. You know, it's one of these things, you either just find them or like someone gives it to you at the
Mhm.
show or like however. I remember it's funny because actually Tommy Henriksen is so great with aiming, and like I've seen multiple shows like where we love to hang out together, and like we know each other personally, and he's such a
Mhm.
sweetheart. I so suck at catching. I hardly ever catch a pic unless I am being handed one. And it has
Mhm.
nothing to do with being a girl. Actually, funny enough, when I was doing sports, I was playing soccer with boys actually, and I was great also at short distance running. I was actually like winning championships when I was 7 or 8, and so I was doing a lot with playing ball sports, if you will, however that weird may sound. But I was always stressed out about this catching element and then catch and run kind of thing. It was like it was screwing me up. I'm a
Mhm.
professional dancer and a professional performer, so my coordination should be great, but somehow, yeah, it never worked. So
That's
how
a
are
hard.
you with how are you with catching pigs? For sure, you're
I'm
better
not
than me.
that
I
good at
bet.
it. Like honestly, I would say more than half we got given in hand.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's hilarious. Each time I remember, it's just like, oh, yeah, again.
Yeah, we got a couple of great moments, but we're not super good at it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's one of these
Mhm.
things. Well, like many people are collectors and hoarders. Like, do you remember collecting anything when you were really a small kid over at Clisson? I can tell you what I did
Oh
when I was
yeah.
over in California in my
Mhm.
first early years.
Yeah, I have like the hugest Star Wars collection ever from when I was
Oh, no way.
It's so big. It's like I'm not kidding. I could probably go to the States for 2 weeks on vacation if I sold that.
Did our ratings just jump up just because you said Star Wars?
No, yeah, I used to be so nerdy about that. It's like I used to buy like everything. It was
You
cool.
know what? You're not going to believe. I have not seen, ladies and gentlemen, this is official. I have never seen Star Wars an episode in my life.
Ah, come on, you gotta catch up.
I know. It's on my list. It's
Just
one of these
don't watch
things.
the three new ones because they're not worth it that much. But the 1 to 6 is good.
But you know what? I know the whole pop culture, like
Mm.
go with the force, the beam up sword and, Chewbacca and whatever, Princess Leia, which I probably resemble with these headphones today. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm familiar with all that. And, also on top of that, I have been raised in California, San Diego. So it's like it's been around, and literally I've been around Universal Studios seeing all of those props and stuff, visiting with parents. So I should know, right? But hey,
Yeah.
don't discriminate. I do other things in my home lockdown, so I'm busy.
Go watch
But
Star Wars.
since you say it right now, you know what? I probably will. Come on. Now it's official. I gotta.
It's worth it.
So, you know what? Like, I think slowly wrapping up, but I think we
Mhm.
should um, answer a question that is actually best for last, one of the best for last. Where did the love for the ES35 come from?
Um, it's
Out of so many awesome guitars out there.
yeah, it's interesting. I remember my sister when I was a kid. She gave me like that model EF335 like miniature, and I remember I was so pissed off because it was not pointy and they wouldn't play that in Slipknot and all of that thing.
Gotcha.
And then a few years back, I remember it was one of my first salary. I wanted to buy like a white flying V just because Roxy had one.
Of course.
And
Shout out to Ryan Roxy. Yeah.
yeah,
You know what? I shared the love because Ryan is actually my first guitar teacher ever, like a real one. So, there you go.
yeah. And basically that guitar, I remember when I got paid, it got sold and I was so pissed off. So I just bought a 335 because I guess I liked him and I liked Dragon and things. And also they're really symmetrical, which I really like.
Yeah. That's an awesome guitar. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yes, then I got an Epiphone one, and then my absolute dream is to get like a white Gibson from the 80s.
I know that. I've been seeing that on social media, like that you were actually, was that a shop in London actually that you guys
Yeah,
visited?
the
And you
guy.
were like lit in the window literally for that guitar
No, the
because
guy
it
was
was
so
closed.
not nice because I was like, can I pay in like, I don't know, like a year or something? It was like
A
5,000
down
pounds.
payment.
It was insane. And it was like, yeah, maybe. And I just took it. And like, I don't know. I guess I like overplayed it maybe. So he was like, yeah, no. So then he did not let me find a way to buy it. But one
The
day,
bastard. One day. One
yeah,
day.
it's okay. I have a black one that
We
has
all
the.
have dreams. You know what? It's gonna happen one day.
Yeah, but I'm
There.
pretty happy with mine.
Yeah. By the way, because we did have two images for the promo of the episode, and on
Mhm.
purpose because one promo does go out as a poster on the official Rock Dance Theater Facebook page, but the other one is also a cover and a screenshot for the YouTube channel episode. And
Mhm.
on both photos, of course, concert photos, you are with an ES335, but a black one. Are those two different guitars, or is that the I want to
Uh,
say Black Beauty, but the one that
I
is
have it.
your go-to.
It's the same guitar.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's really beaten up, but it's the same guitar. I'm really picky with gear. I wanted one with dots inlay and classic 57 pickups, and I would not take anything else. And yeah,
All
so
right,
I managed to find one from a collector, which was pretty cool because it was basically unplayed.
nice. Well, you know what? This is dangerous territory, ladies and gentlemen, because guys, we've went a little bit over an hour already, and we usually try to kind of time this properly. But for sure, this gear talk should be taken to an episode 2. Don't you think? It's like because I
Yeah,
can talk for
sure.
hours and ages also, and hell,
Oh,
I'm a
yeah,
girl and I can talk gear because I just love it.
that's fine. Gear is universal.
I
It's
think we should leave a little bit, of a doubt for
Mhm.
our audience, don't you think? Yeah,
Yeah,
sweet. Well, you know what, Aaron? This has been so much fun. Merci beaucoup. Tack
yeah,
så
thanks.
mycket, as we say in Sweden, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully, we will see each other very soon.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, but that was really fun. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we did have a little bit of gear delay, but I think it's only also internet that has proved that, guys, you should shut up right now and just like have dinner or whatever.
Too much gear.
No, but thank you so much for joining the show today. And yeah, this has been fun. Hell, so many stories and so many topics we could talk about like for hours for sure. But I think we will be back with these at some point
Yeah,
in time.
yeah, sure. All right.
So basically, Stone, if people want to follow you, it was fun, right? What is your shout out in terms of social media? Where should people hit you up when they want to discover all of the good stuff on your end?
I guess Lost Boys of Eden is the one where stuff is happening the most. So we're probably gonna, because we're getting to rehearse
I
this
just wanted
weekend.
to.
We're probably um gonna post more on Lost Boys now. And yeah, Sparkle Kick, we have some stuff in the can too, but like Lost Boys has taken so much time that's, I don't know when this will come out, but eventually it will come out.
Eventually. Well, something to look forward to. Absolutely. So guys, absolutely hit Stosina up. That's, well, your actual handle is Stosina on Instagram, and
Mhm.
also all of the official social media, especially Facebook, as you said, Lost Boys of Eden and Sparkle Kick. If you want to be reminded, just look at my jacket. I had to dress accordingly, and I think it all worked out pretty well. And also, internet did not die on us, which I'm very glad about.
Yeah,
Awesome.
definitely. I want your jacket. So cool.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
Everything is a
Alrighty.
price.
Thank you so much, Sina. I'm going to kick you off to the green room just to wrap this whole thing up. And
Sure.
yeah, until next time. Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Alrighty, guys. So yeah, thank you so much, Son, today for checking in with us and hanging for our, well, Swedish fika, or whatever you want to call it, Rock Dance Theater live stream meetings. Guys, there will be a lot of exciting news coming up. Not only this episode is gonna restream and rebroadcast on New York time within a day and a half, probably, depending on the tempo of the post-production, which, well, my fantastic team is doing. Well, I'm doing it by myself, so however long it's going to take me, you guys just got to wait it out. But please also check out the video vintage vault of the Rock Dance Theater live streams. And also, the vintage vault consists of Teatr Kompania Achimowicz, my previous works before Rock Dance Theater, and that's everything that happened before 2016. So that's a little bit of stuff, and hopefully you guys dig that, and just let me know what you think. Hit the subscribe buttons, hit the comments, and thank you so much for tuning in today. And until further notice, guys, I have been your humble host, Anna Achimowicz, Rock Dance Theater, signing off. See you later.